I believe that brings us to the Silalobus. Silalobus. Please turn that around and read the back first. There's a few little lines I'd like to point out to you. Most of this you'll read at home. There's just a few things I'd like to highlight now. On the back, it says your first homework assignment, your second homework assignment, and your third homework assignment. Read those sentences. Your first assignment, your second assignment, and your third assignment. Just read those sentences, please. And when you finish, put it on your head so I can see you've read all three of the sentences. Okay. Usually when I pass out papers, I'll ask you to read some fraction of the paper, and then this is the way that we show me you finished without interrupting other people's reading. So that'll be the case throughout the year. You put it on your head when you're done reading. If I ever ask you to read something, that's how you show me you're done. All right. So your first homework assignment is to send me an email with all that info. Raise your hand if you don't have email. And please raise your hand if we have 30 juniors that are all here, one senior, and he's here. There are no absences. Let me make sure that my attendance.
I trust you. I'm putting my job on the line.
I see that, but you can also do the 6x5 grid there. Okay, that's it. Raise your hand if you will not be able to access email between now and Tuesday. So it sounds like everybody can do it. Please look up. On Tuesday the 2nd, you bring me that graphing struggle and your email assignment. Your second homework assignment is to enroll in EDU 2.0. Raise your hand if you don't know what I'm talking about. Don't judge me. I have no idea what's on my iPad right now. Do not judge me. Okay. Is visible? Is visible. That is our course website. That's visible, right? Yeah. So check out a few things for you to know. Upcoming assignments are listed in the upper right of the screen. There's a section called Links Out. You see that in the upper right where it says Links Out? I have a YouTube channel where I broadcast our lectures daily. We go to great lengths to make sure that I support your learning. That's no joke. That's like the only power I have in this class, is to protect students who want to learn. So there it is. The mic. the camera, the recording technology, the dedicated slave. So when you click on the YouTube channel, you get all of our video lectures. Pretty tight, right? Thank God YouTube didn't load any like suggestions for me. God forbid. Okay. Then there's also a Facebook group for the Green Club, the group that organizes volunteer activities. I don't know how long it'll be before they get new content on here, but you can see there's like a Google Drive for the secretary to keep track of records. There's announcements about meetings, about activities. Students can post questions. There's like flyers that you need to print sometimes and so on. Relevant to volunteer work with the Green Club. Also on EDU, you can link out to the older version of my website. Within each unit, you can see all the assignments and all of the papers. Future units, I don't know how many you can see as a student, but this has all the dates of when everything is due, how to do the assignment. If you forget your study guide, this will at least tell you like which questions you need or whatever. And remember, you can go to the attachments, and that will show you all of the nitty-gritty. Links to videos that contradict my own videos, and so on. Are there any questions about my website? This is your access code. You should write it somewhere. It will be posted within a day or two. Your third homework assignment is to read the packet we're looking at, the syllabus packet, and sign at the bottom, right next to your mommy or daddy or guardian signature. Just so you know, that is my protection against uppity parents. A lot of your parents are like, my son is really smart. There's no way he's getting a D. And I always go, oh yeah, but you know, he did turn in homework, so, you know. They're like, what do you mean he can't turn in his homework late? And I'll be like, oh, well, you know. And I open the drawer, and I rifle through, and I go, you signed right there that you knew this policy out of here. For years and years, I would give my students the syllabus, and the parents would come back and be like, I didn't know about how you do. Like, oh, okay, I'm sorry that you didn't know. And then they get all like confrontational and stuff. Then another teacher's like, why don't you just have your parents sign that they read it, and then you basically got nothing to complain about. So that's a homework assignment. You must do it. We will unenroll you from the class if your parents haven't read the syllabus and signed that they've read it. And of course, you all have all this drug, sex, and rock and roll to do, and so you're probably not going to be terribly focused on reading this, and I get that. But please don't say I didn't warn you. I've spent like probably 40 or 60 hours last year alone editing the first couple pages that have all of my policy stuff. It's like really carefully worded. Like a contract when you sign for a mortgage or something. There's a bunch of details that you'll need to know about. The rest of the period is so I can highlight some of those details. Are there any questions before I start highlighting details? Okay. Looking at the front here, my contact information, I do email like 7 to 10 times a day. So that's probably the best way to ask me a question. My phone over here, I seriously don't know how to check the voicemail. It's got like a light that tells me if I have messages, but I don't know what to do with them. So don't leave messages on my class line, and please tell your parents that that's not a good place to leave messages. On the other hand, my cell phone is pretty easy to use. I text message, so you can just, I think that's probably the most convenient way to communicate for most of us in the modern world. My children, 7 and 4, they go to sleep around 7:30 or 8. Text messages just make a little blip, not a big deal. But if you like call and it keeps ringing, I'll block you. You will need this year some way to organize your papers, water, gas, and electricity bills, and a review book. It'll probably sneak up on you unless you handle this now. Because you can't get your water, gas, and electricity bills very easily. Just so you know, most people either throw them away or your butler handles it and you can't figure out what language they speak or whatever. So I'm just saying, you might want to tell your parents about the water, gas, and electricity bills early. Because that's over the years, I've seen a lot of students struggle to find them at the last minute. Yeah?
What exactly do we need those for?
You can read about it. We ask you to learn about your household resource use. We don't judge you any more than usual, and you don't have to share anything that you don't want to share. But the deal is that you better understand your resource use in your home. Cool? Please look up. This is the best study guide ever written for any AP course. Once you cut out all the practice exams and all the appendices and all the intros, that's it. It's just like a Microsoft Word printout. And I'm serious. Like when I was an AP student, I kind of liked Princeton Review better. But I've looked at ETS, Kaplan, Princeton Review, Con. This is definitely the best. Definitely. Hands down. It's also really cheap. There's a link on my website. You can buy it on Amazon. It's called the Smarty Pants Guide. I'll be right there. This is Jose. Oh, no, neither. Goodbye. Uh-huh. I did know it. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Smarty Pants Guide question is.
When should we get that by? Like in the beginning?
You know, it's your call. Like, it's not mandatory. But if you were ever going to get one, I strongly recommend that one. Yeah.
Can you keep the listener just turn it off page?
That's right. You just tear off that little slip at the bottom, and you should keep it. Just so you know, I wanted to use this as our textbook, but the district wouldn't let me. It's really good. It's got like no fluff, no mistakes, super condensed. I think it's very, very helpful. So this thing about classroom expectations, what I expect from you, I got a feeling you all know how to be cool and I don't need to like make rules about it. I should explain my philosophy. I am so down for this content. Like 24/7, 100%. You want to call me at 3 in the morning to talk about the stuff? Like, okay, cool. I don't know if you can tell, but I do try really hard. I assemble the readers. I've got this film series. I have to screen, like, I don't know how many. Like, all this stuff, this is just extra work. I don't have to do that. But I do this to support learning. Like kids that want to learn, I come here for that, and I'm seriously down. Like that's what I do. I find this really interesting. We can continue this when you graduate. If you want to drop my class and just talk about this stuff, I'm way down. I have like no power trip. I go by my first name. I have no special status. Except for one thing, like I want our primary focus to be the content. That's it. Like if we're done with the content, we can talk about stars and about bikinis or whatever you want to talk about. But like my number one priority, my top, like my purpose for being here is to help kids learn. So like if he wants to learn and he wants to talk science and everybody else is over it, I don't care about anybody else anymore. I'm here to talk science. And like all my classroom rules are just about like making a place where like we can focus on the science stuff. Like I don't really judge you all. Like we're all cool. I got no problem with anybody. But like this part of my life is like I'm just here to help kids learn about this stuff. If you don't want to learn, it's all good. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you, and I'm not going to judge you. I don't care. It's cool. But like, I got to warn you, like, don't get in the way of the science stuff. If there's science stuff happening. Okay. Grading percentages. Just so you know, the cards are stacked in a certain way on purpose. It's impossible to get a good grade in this class if you don't do all the homework and the classwork. Just thought you should know that. My philosophy about homework is you do about 90% of the learning at home, because 90% of the book is pretty straightforward. You're going to have to do that stuff. That's the homework, is where you take notes on all the easy stuff in the book. And then when you come to class, my job is to do the 10% that's really hard, the very difficult stuff. That's what I do here in the room most of the time. And then you take these tests, and the tests, just so you know, they mirror the AP tests written by the College Board. They are little miniature versions. So you've got a quarter of the time to do a quarter of the stuff. Instead of 100 questions, you do 25. Instead of 4 essay questions, you do 1. They're exactly the same. They're timed the same. They're formatted the same. You have to turn in one packet and take the other packet, just like an AP test. They're like little miniature AP tests. And then like the AP test, the national average is roughly 50%. So after the curve and the adjustment, most of you, like the average scored about 50% on the test. After we adjust the curve. The A on the curve starts at right around 65 or 70% usually, just like the AP test in May. And just like the AP test in May, there's a lot of like higher level thinking and a lot of like tricky questions and like a lot of I don't know, these 3 choices all seem like which is the best choice. So I'm just saying the way that the class is designed, you must do the homework and classwork. Numerically, it's basically impossible to get a good grade if you haven't done that. And strategically, it's basically impossible because I don't go over most of the stuff. Most of the stuff you just take out of the book and we just sort of check to make sure you got it and then move on. Then if the tests are difficult, don't worry about it. As long as you do all the homework and classwork, no problem. I have tons of extra credit. All sorts of extra credit options. A whole page of extra credit options. Every student should do the extra credit. I'm serious. It's your protection against the difficult tests. All the smartest kids in the school, you need a little extra credit sometimes because the tests are not that easy. Like I usually teach 8 out of the top 10 students in every year's rankings. And in recent memory, I don't really remember anybody who totally aced all the tests. Extra credit's a very good idea. Just so you know, it's not instead of credit. Meaning, you have to complete all the homework in order to be able to do the extra credit. It's not instead of. It's not like, oh, can I do this instead? Like, You got to get the homework done. And then you can do the extra credit. Are there any questions about this? All the details are written here. I'm just kind of skimming. So quickly, late work, there is none. Because the homework is to be ready for the conversation the next day, it doesn't help me. Please look up. If you're ready to talk about the tragedy of the Commons on Thursday. The homework for Wednesday was to be ready. You show up on Wednesday and go, oh, I didn't read the article, sorry. And then on Thursday, you're like, yeah, I read the article. Like, hooray, we talked about it yesterday. It doesn't help. So all homework is due on the day that it's due, and that's it. Check it out. If you have personal problems or legitimate excuses, I'm a very nice, rational, understanding person. My life is a disaster. So I get it. If your life is a disaster, that's cool. I'll help you out, as long as you let me know before it's due. At the moment that it's due, you're like, oh, I have cancer and I got hit by a car. It's like, oh, that sucks, but it was due anyway. So put my phone number in your cell phone. When you get the cancer diagnosis, you're like, oh, bro, I may be late tomorrow. No problem. If you're proactive, I'm a pretty understanding guy. But if you're just like, I have excuses, like, those are explanations usually, not excuses. If you're absent, my whole system is set up to support you. You can go to the website and see what papers there are. You can go to the website and keep up with the calendar. And you can go to the website and follow the link to the YouTube and see what happened in lecture. Pretty much if you're absent, I have left it all out there. All you got to do is handle it. So here it comes. Watch this. Homework comes out on Monday and is due Friday, just as an example. So for the sake of conversation, let us say. Comes out on Monday, is due Friday. If you're absent those 3 days in the middle, it's still due Friday, because you found out when it came out. Make sense to everybody? You knew it was due and you've been gone, but who cares? There's no extension for you. It's still due Friday. If it comes out on Monday, is due on Friday, and you're absent on Friday, you have to have it with you the first time you come back to class to show that you've kept up with your responsibilities. Pretty standard, I think, right? And then here's an extension. If it comes out on Monday, is due Friday, and you're absent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay, fine. I couldn't have expected you to have it done on Friday since you couldn't have known. Does that make sense? So for that kid, I give him like a day. Now remember, I'm a rational person. So if you got problems, let me know. We'll adjust. It's all good. We'll work something out. We'll figure it out in advance. We'll come to an agreement. Oh, you're going to be in Washington, D.C. for ballet dancing? Okay, cool. Problem. Yeah, maybe Tuesday? Can you do it Tuesday? Okay, great. Tuesday, yeah. We'll work it out, but you got to handle your stuff in advance. Not after the fact. He's okay? Questions? I'm super bone crusher about the cheating. I will embarrass you publicly. I'm just saying. You should know that. Like, if you cheat, you are challenging my credibility. I will challenge your honor in public. Yes?
Are we allowed to, do an assignment with somebody else?
You should read this. Keep all your paperwork all year, like it says right there. Every piece of paper, I'm not kidding. Read this explanation about the testing, and for God's sake, please read this extra credit thing. Pretty much, you got to be really cocky to skip the extra credit if you want an A. It's available to everybody. And the whole point is, you all do the homework, you all do the classwork, you do your best on the test, and then there's enough extra credit that you can probably get like a 1 or 2 full letter grade promotion if you have any problems. Yeah?
For extra credit, how much is like the maximum per day?
Every one of those is outlined on that paper. There's limits and categories, and it's all on there.
But for each one, can you do like more than one section of credit? Like if I want to see a movie and then go do an activity?
It's all in there, yes. But yes, you can.